Before we begin our journey into the heart of the ancient world, take a moment to settle into the space around you. Find a position that feels effortless, where your body can begin to release its hold on the day. Gently close your eyes. If you feel any tension in your shoulders, allow them to drop away from your ears. Let your jaw soften. Feel the weight of your body pressing into the surface beneath you, a gentle gravity connecting you to the earth. Now, draw a deep, slow breath in through your nose. Imagine you are inhaling the crisp, oxygen-rich air of a high-altitude grove. Hold it for just a second, and then exhale slowly through your mouth, letting go of any lingering thoughts or worries. With every breath, you are becoming more still, more present. You are moving away from the frantic pace of the modern world and toward a timescale that is measured not in minutes or hours, but in centuries and seasons. Your heartbeat begins to sync with the slow, steady pulse of the living earth. Imagine now that the ceiling above you is dissolving, replaced by a vast emerald canopy. The walls around you are fading into the soft, gray-brown trunks of giants. You are standing at the edge of an ancient, temperate rainforest, a place where time seems to pool like water in the hollow of a stone. The first thing you notice is the air. It is cool, carrying a slight, refreshing dampness that feels like a velvet touch against your skin. This is not the dry air of a city. It is heavy with life. As you breathe in, you are inhaling more than just oxygen. You are breathing in phytoncides. These are natural, airborne, antimicrobial wood essential oils, like alpha-pinene and limonene, that trees emit to protect themselves from insects. In humans, these chemicals have been scientifically shown to lower blood pressure and reduce cortisol levels by over 12%. Just by being here, in your mind's eye, your nervous system is beginning to settle into a state of profound peace. Step forward onto the forest floor. The ground beneath your feet is not hard. It is a deep, springy carpet of moss and decaying organic matter known as duff. It yields softly to your weight, damp and cool. This floor is an ancient archive. In a single teaspoon of this rich, dark soil, there are more than 1,000 species of fungi and miles of microscopic fungal filaments called mycelium. This is the wood wide web, a biological network that allows trees to communicate, sharing nutrients and chemical warnings with one another across miles of terrain. Look up. The light here is filtered through layers of needles and leaves, a phenomenon known as komoribi in Japanese, the scattered sunlight that filters through the trees. Because of the density of the canopy, only about 5% of the sunlight reaching the top of the forest actually touches the ground. The light that does reach you is a soft, underwater green, casting long, peaceful shadows. You might see the Tyndall effect beams of light made visible by the mist, looking like golden pillars supporting the ceiling of the forest. To your right stands a coastal redwood, or times Sequoia sempervirens *. It is a titan, stretching over 350 feet into the sky. To put that in perspective, this single tree is taller than a 30-story building. Its bark is thick, fibrous, and deeply furrowed, feeling like weathered corduroy under your fingertips. This bark can be up to 12 inches thick, containing high levels of tannin which protect the tree from rot and insects. Reach out and touch it. The surface is surprisingly warm to the touch, insulating the living tissue within from the external temperature. As you stand by this giant, you realize that the forest is never truly silent, yet it is incredibly quiet. There is the low-frequency hum of the wind moving through needles, a sound called psithurism. It is a rhythmic, white noise that lulls the mind into a trance-like state. You hear the occasional drip of water. This is fog drip. In these ancient forests, the trees actually create their own rain. The needles of the redwoods are designed to capture moisture from the coastal fog. The water condenses on the needles and drips down to the roots. A single large redwood can move as much as 150 gallons of water a day from the atmosphere directly into the soil, sustaining the entire ecosystem during dry months. What is fascinating is the sheer volume of life contained in just one of these trees. A single old-growth Douglas fir can be home to over 1,000 different species. High above, in the canopy, in a world 200 feet above the ground, there are entire gardens of epiphytes, plants that grow on other plants. You might find thick mats of thymes, Isothecium stoloniferum asterisk, a type of moss that can hold several times its weight in water, creating a hanging wetland in the sky. There are even species of salamanders that spend their entire lives in the canopy, never once touching the forest floor. As you settle deeper into this environment, you become aware of the temperature. It is remarkably stable here. The thick canopy acts as a thermal blanket, keeping the forest floor about 10 degrees cooler in the summer and 10 degrees warmer in the winter than the open clearings nearby. You feel perfectly comfortable, encased in a steady, humid embrace that smells of crushed needles, damp earth, and the sweet, vanilla-like scent of decaying wood. Look closely at a fallen log near your feet. This is a nurse log. In the cycle of an ancient forest, there is no such thing as waste. When a giant tree finally falls after 800 years of life, it begins a second career that can last another 5 centuries. As the wood slowly breaks down, it becomes a reservoir of moisture and nutrients. You can see tiny hemlock saplings growing in a straight line along the top of the fallen trunk. The nurse log provides these young trees with a boost of nitrogen and protection from the fungi in the soil that might otherwise overwhelm them. The dead tree is literally nursing the next generation of the forest. Think about the sheer scale of time you are witnessing. Some of the western red cedars in this grove began their lives over 1,000 years ago. If you were to look at their cross-sections, the tree rings, a study known as dendrochronology, would tell a story of every rainfall, every dry spell, and every gentle shift in the climate since the Middle Ages. The rings are formed by the cambium, a thin layer of living tissue just beneath the bark. In the spring, the tree grows early wood, which is light-colored and porous to move large amounts of water. In the late summer, it grows late wood, which is dark and dense, providing structural strength. The movement of water within these trees is a silent, hydraulic miracle. Through a process called transpiration pull, the tree uses the evaporation of water from the microscopic pores in its leaves called stomata to pull water from the roots all the way to the crown. This water travels through the xylem, tiny tubes made of lignin and cellulose. Lignin is the complex organic polymer that gives wood its stiffness. Without it, trees could never reach these staggering heights. You can almost feel the slow, upward suction, a vertical river moving at a pace of about 2 feet per hour, silently defying gravity. As you lean back against the mossy base of a tree, you feel your own breath slowing even further. You are part of the carbon cycle now. Every time you exhale, the trees around you are quietly drawing in that carbon dioxide through their stomata. Inside the leaves, in the chloroplasts, the tree uses the energy of the sun to break those molecules apart, keeping the carbon to build its wood and releasing the oxygen back to you. A single mature tree can produce enough oxygen in one season to support 2 people for an entire year. It is a perfect, silent conversation between you and the forest. The light is beginning to dim as the sun moves lower on the horizon, turning the emerald canopy into shades of deep jade and indigo. The shadows are long and soft, stretching across the moss like cool fingers. There is no urgency here. In the forest, growth is measured in millimeters per year. An ancient tree might take a decade to grow just a few inches in girth, yet it is this very slowness that gives it the strength to endure for a millennium. You find yourself sitting down on a soft mound of clover and sorrel. The leaves of the Times Oxalis oregana *, or redwood sorrel, are shaped like 3 hearts. They are incredibly sensitive to light. When a sunbeam hits them too directly, they fold downward to protect themselves from drying out. As the evening approaches, they are fully open, lush and soft. You can feel the coolness of the earth rising up to meet you. A gentle grounding sensation that makes your limbs feel heavy and relaxed. Listen to the sound of a distant stream. It is a low, melodic burble, the sound of water moving over ancient basalt stones. The water is clear and cold, filtered by the forest floor until it is pure. This stream carries nutrients from the high ridges down to the valley, a circulatory system for the landscape. You are now fully immersed in the secret life of the forest. The air is still. The sounds are soft. The temperature is a perfect, cool constant. You are no longer an observer. You are a participant in this ancient, slow-moving world. You are settling into the moss, your senses attuned to the textures of bark and the scent of damp earth. The forest is cradling you, shielding you from the noise of the world outside, inviting you to stay, to listen, and to rest. You are safe here, among the giants, as the first part of our journey comes to a peaceful close. Here, in the stillness, you are ready to go deeper into the green. Consider the stillness of the air as you settle further into the mossy embrace of the forest floor. The ground beneath you feels like a living mattress, a complex weave of roots and soil that has been accumulating for millennia. We often think of forests as static backgrounds, but if we adjust our perspective to a historical lens, we begin to see this landscape as a slow-motion symphony, a green explosion that has been occurring with patient grace for over 400 million years. Picture the early 19th century, specifically the year 1825. A Scottish botanist named David Douglas traveled through the Pacific Northwest, documenting the giants that now surround you. He was the first European to describe the tree that bears his name, the Douglas fir, or Times Pseudotsuga menziesii *. What Douglas found was a world of scale that defied the imagination of his era. He recorded specimens that reached heights of over 300 feet, which at the time was nearly twice the height of the tallest man-made structures in Europe. As you rest here, imagine looking up through the same eyes, seeing a spire of wood and needles that began its journey toward the sun, long before any modern city was built. What's happening now, as you lie here, is a continuation of a story that the indigenous peoples of this land have understood for tens of thousands of years. Consider the western red cedar, or Times Thuja plicata *. To the coast Salish people, this tree was known as the long life maker. They recognized a biological reality that Western science would only confirm much later. The cedar is naturally imbued with a chemical compound called thujaplicin. This is a powerful, natural fungicide and antioxidant found within the wood's heartwood. It is the reason why a fallen cedar can lie on the damp forest floor for over a century without rotting, providing a stable, dry nursery for mosses and seedlings. Notice the scent around you that's sweet, sharp, woody aroma is the thujaplicin working, preserving the tree's history against the slow decay of time. At this very moment, your hand might be resting on a patch of gray-green lichen clinging to a trunk. Imagine zooming in on that texture until the world becomes a landscape of microscopic peaks and valleys. In the year 1665, a scientist named Robert Hooke looked through one of the world's first microscopes at a thin slice of cork, the bark of an oak tree. He saw a series of tiny, rectangular chambers that reminded him of the small rooms, or cells, where monks lived. This was the moment humanity first discovered the building blocks of all life. Within the bark you are touching, there are billions of these cells, each one a tiny vessel of water and cellulose, stacked like bricks to hold up the massive weight of the canopy. Deep within the soil beneath your heels, a silent conversation is taking place that was only deciphered by humans in the late 19th century. In 1885, a German forest biologist named Albert Bernhard Frank was the first to use the term mycorrhiza. He combined the Greek words for fungus and root to describe a relationship that transformed our understanding of the natural world. Previously, scientists believed that trees competed for resources like rivals in a stadium. Frank discovered that they actually cooperate. The fungi wrap their mycelium around the tree roots, extending the tree's reach by up to 1,000 times. In exchange for sugars produced by the leaves, the fungi provide the tree with phosphorus and nitrogen. You are resting on a massive, underground marketplace, where the currency is carbon and the goal is collective survival. Notice how the light shifts as a gentle breeze moves the leaves of a quaking aspen grove nearby. If you were to travel to the Fish Lake National Forest in Utah, you would find a single organism that challenges our very definition of an individual. Scientists discovered a grove named Times Pando asterisk, which is Latin for "I spread." At first glance, it looks like a forest of 47,000 individual trees, but beneath the surface, they all share a single, massive root system. Asterisk Pando Times is estimated to be over 80,000 years old and weighs approximately 13 million pounds, making it one of the heaviest and oldest living things on Earth. When you hear the leaves rustle, you aren't hearing 1,000 trees. You are hearing the breath of a single, ancient giant that has survived since the last ice age. Think about the rings within the trunk of a tree, a concept that a scientist named A.E. Douglas turned into the science of dendrochronology in the early 1900s. He realized that a tree is a living weather station. In a year with plenty of rainfall, the tree grows a wide, light-colored ring of early wood. In a year of drought, the ring is a thin, dark line of late wood. By looking at these patterns, we can read the history of the Earth's climate back through the centuries. Some of the Great Basin bristlecone pines, or Times Pinus longaiva asterisk, have been standing in the White Mountains of California for more than 4,800 years. One specific tree, nicknamed Methuselah, was a seedling when the first pyramids were being built in Egypt. It has spent nearly 5 millennia slowly accumulating carbon, one ring at a time, in a state of perpetual, meditative growth. Consider the color of the canopy above you, that deep, restorative green. This color is the result of the chlorophyll molecule, which is structurally almost identical to the hemoglobin in your own blood. The only major difference is the central atom. While our blood uses iron to carry oxygen, plants use a single atom of magnesium to capture sunlight. This chemical similarity is a reminder of our deep biological kinship with the forest. Every leaf is a solar panel, using that magnesium atom to trigger a process called photosynthesis, which split water molecules to release the very oxygen you are breathing into your lungs right now. What is fascinating is the density of the infrastructure within a single leaf. If you were to look at the underside of a leaf through a lens, you would see thousands of tiny openings called stomata. There can be between 100 and 1,000 of these mouths on every square millimeter of leaf surface. They open and close with incredible precision to regulate the tree's internal pressure. In the heat of the day, they may close to conserve water. In the cool of the evening, they open to breathe. As the sun sets, the forest is exhaling a vast cloud of moisture and oxygen, a collective sigh that softens the air and makes it feel thick and nourishing. Picture the way water moves through these giants. For centuries, humans wondered how a tree could lift water hundreds of feet into the air without a mechanical pump. It wasn't until the late 1892 that researchers proposed the cohesion tension theory. Water molecules have a natural tendency to stick together. This is called cohesion. As a single molecule of water evaporates from a leaf in the canopy, it pulls on the molecule behind it, which pulls on the next, creating a continuous chain of water stretching from the highest leaf down to the deepest root. This vertical river is under immense tension, like a stretched rubber band. When you lean your head against the bark, you are leaning against a hydraulic system of incredible power and silence, a silent lift that never stops. Deep in the heartwood of these trees, there is a substance called resin, which has been prized by humans since the Bronze Age. When a tree is wounded, it secretes this thick, amber liquid to seal the breach and prevent infection. Over millions of years, this resin can fossilize into amber, preserving ancient air bubbles and insects in a golden time capsule. The scent of the forest, that rich, resinous perfume, is the smell of the forest's own immune system. It contains compounds like alpha-pinene, which humans have used for centuries in traditional medicines. Modern studies have shown that simply smelling these forest aerosols can increase the activity of natural killer cells in the human immune system, boosting our ability to stay healthy. As you lie here, the historical weight of the forest begins to feel like a comforting blanket. You are part of a lineage of observers who have looked at these woods with wonder, from the first people who crafted canoes from cedar to the scientists who first saw a cell through a glass lens. The forest doesn't move on a human timescale, it moves on a geological one. A tree doesn't rush to grow, it waits for the right light, the right moisture, and the right connection in the soil. The temperature is dropping just a fraction now, the cool air settling into the hollows of the landscape. You can feel the moisture in the air becoming more pronounced, a gentle humidity that hydrates your skin and soothes your throat. The sounds of the forest are changing, too. The day-active birds are settling into their nests, and the wind is dying down to a whisper. The psithurism, that sound of wind in the needles, is becoming a low, rhythmic pulse, like the breathing of a great slumbering animal. You are drifting into a state of deep historical resonance. The forest has been doing exactly this breathing, growing and communicating for millions of years before you arrived, and it will continue for millions of years after. This continuity is a form of peace. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to solve anything. You are simply a guest in a living cathedral that knows how to take care of itself. The heavy branches above you are protective, the deep roots below you are supportive, and the air around you is a gift from the trees to you. In this space, time has no meaning, and the only thing that matters is the cool, steady rhythm of the ancient world. You are settling in, your body becoming as still as the heartwood of a cedar, ready to transition into the next layer of this emerald dream. As you settle into the soft, yielding duff of the forest floor, imagine that you are reclining into the plussest, most intricate carpet ever woven. This natural upholstery, made of needles, shed bark, and decaying leaves, is several feet thick in some places. If you were to compare this to a city street, you'd realize that while a sidewalk is hard and unforgiving, this surface is a pressurized shock absorber, designed by nature to protect the delicate root systems below. You can feel the coolness of the ground seeping through your clothes, a steady, refreshing temperature that remains constant, regardless of the world outside this grove. Visualize the massive Douglas fir, asterisk, Pseudotsuga menziesii, asterisk, standing near you. If you were to imagine this tree as a high-rise apartment complex, you'd see that every floor or branch is a bustling neighborhood. Researchers have discovered that a single old-growth Douglas fir can be home to over 200 different species of lichens and mosses. For these organisms, the tree is a permanent, stable foundation, much like the stone of a mountain. One specific resident you might notice is the lungwort lichen asterisk, Lobaria pulmonaria asterisk. It looks like a fragment of a sea sponge, bright green and leathery. This lichen performs a vital service for the neighborhood. It can fix nitrogen from the air, transforming it into a nutrient that plants can use. In a healthy old-growth forest, these lichens contribute up to 10 pounds of nitrogen per acre to the soil every year, acting like a slow-release fertilizer that keeps the entire ecosystem thriving. What's happening now, just beneath your fingertips, is an information exchange more complex than the fastest fiber optic network. Picture the mycelium, those tiny, white fungal threads stretching out through the soil. To give you a sense of the scale, a single teaspoon of this forest soil can contain more than 50 miles of these fungal filaments. If you were to unspool them, they would stretch halfway across a major city. This network is the forest's version of a neighborhood mailing list. When a tree is under stress, perhaps from a lack of water, it sends chemical signals through these threads to its neighbors. The neighboring trees respond by sharing their own resources, moving sugars and carbon through the mycelium to the tree in need. Scientists have found that the mycelium can be 1,000 times the length of the roots it services, acting as a massive extension of the tree's own body. Notice the texture of the moss on the rock beside you. It feels like the heavy, plush pile of a velvet cushion. This is likely Time's Stephen's moss times, or perhaps a dense mat of Time's sphagnum asterisk. This moss is more than just a decoration. It is a powerful insulator. During the cold months, the heat retention properties of a thick moss mat can keep the ground temperature up to 15 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the ambient air. It acts like a thermal blanket for the soil, protecting the tiny insects and seeds buried beneath from freezing. When you press your palm against it, you can feel the slight warmth held within its fibers, a gentle heat generated by the slow, metabolic breakdown of organic matter below. Deep within the trunk of a nearby Sitka spruce, asterisk Picea sitchensis asterisk, a silent reservoir is being managed. Consider this tree as a massive water tower. An individual spruce can store up to 50,000 gallons of water within its tissues. This isn't just sitting still, it is a pressurized system. The roots of these trees are capable of exerting a pressure of up to 1.5 megapascals. That's roughly 217 pounds per square inch. To put that in perspective, that is enough pressure to crack solid rock or lift the weight of several cars. This immense force allows the tree to push water through its xylem, the internal plumbing that functions like a bundle of microscopic straws, moving hydration against the pull of gravity to branches hundreds of feet in the air. At this very moment, a subtle perfume is drifting through the air around you. These are volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, specifically a group called terpenes. These are the molecules that give the forest its characteristic scent of pine and lemon. Think of these as the forest's wireless communication. In a light breeze, these chemical messages can travel at speeds of up to 30 feet per second. When you smell that sharp, clean aroma, you are actually eavesdropping on a conversation. The trees use these scents to coordinate their defenses, or to signal to one another that the seasons are shifting. It is a slow, fragrant language that fills the space between the trunks. Look up at the canopy of a coast redwood. These giants have developed a way to bypass the ground entirely when they are thirsty. The needles of a coast redwood are uniquely adapted to capture moisture from the thick Pacific fog. What's truly fascinating is that these trees can absorb 60% of their total water intake directly through their leaves. Imagine if you could hydrate yourself simply by stepping out into a misty morning and letting the air touch your skin. For the redwood, the fog isn't just weather. It's a primary food source, a floating ocean that provides the hydration needed to sustain its immense height. Consider the bracket fungi growing like shelves on a decaying log. These are the Times Ganoderma Times species, often called artist's conch. They are the recyclers of the forest, breaking down the tough lignin in wood that almost no other organism can digest. While they look stationary and silent, they are incredibly prolific. A single large bracket fungus can produce 30 billion spores a day. Imagine 30 billion tiny, invisible seeds floating away on the slightest current of air, like a cloud of microscopic dust. Each one carries the potential to start a new colony, ensuring that the forest's cycle of renewal never stops. These fungi are the reason the forest floor doesn't become buried in fallen wood. They are the slow-burning engines of decomposition. Notice how the temperature of the air feels different as you move your hand closer to the ground. This is because the forest floor has its own microclimate. The dense layers of foliage above act like the roof and insulation of a well-built home. This canopy blocks out the harsh, direct energy of the sun and traps the cool, moist air near the ground. Because of this, the humidity at the level of the moss can be 20% higher than the humidity at the top of the trees. You are resting in a humidified chamber where the air is soft on your skin and easy on your breath. Picture the way a seed from a western hemlock begins its life. It often lands on a nurse log, a fallen giant that is slowly returning to the earth. For the tiny seed, this log is a specialized nursery. Because the log is elevated above the forest floor, the seedling is safe from the thick layers of leaves that might smother it. The decaying wood of the log acts like a sponge, holding onto water even during dry spells and providing a concentrated dose of nutrients. You might see a row of young trees all growing in a perfect line, their roots eventually straddling the log as it disappears. This is the forest's way of passing the torch, using the body of the old to provide a literal and figurative leg up for the young. As you remain here, let your mind drift to the sheer longevity of this system. We often measure our lives in decades, but the forest operates on a scale of centuries. A single branch on an old-growth tree might be older than the oldest person you know. The pace of life here is governed by the biological clock of the seasons. There is no rush to achieve, no deadline to meet. The tree grows when the light is right, and it rests when the light fades. By aligning your own breathing with this rhythm, slow, steady, and purposeful, you are tapping into a source of stability that has existed for millions of years. The light is continuing to soften, the vibrant greens of the afternoon turning into the deep, muted tones of twilight. The texture of the bark against your back feels like ancient stone, solid and unchanging. You are part of this network now, a temporary guest in a world that values stillness above all else. The heavy branches overhead are like protective arms, screening out the noise of the modern world and replacing it with the low, rhythmic hum of the wind. Everything you sense, the damp smell of the earth, the cool touch of the moss, the distant murmur of water, is part of a grand, interconnected system that is working perfectly, even as you rest. You are settling into the heart of the forest, your body feeling heavier and more relaxed with every passing moment. As you prepare to journey further into the quiet mysteries of the ancient wood, at this very moment, Andestate 4, as you breathe with the slow, deliberate pulse of the forest, imagine that your own internal clock is beginning to synchronize with the movements of the trees. We often feel pressured by the ticking of seconds, but here, the unit of time is the season. To a 500-year-old tree, a human life is like a single, bright summer afternoon, brief, vibrant, and gone before the first frost. This realization isn't meant to be fleeting. Rather, it is an invitation to release the urgency of the world and lean into the enduring stability of the ancient wood. Notice how the giants above you manage their personal space. If you look straight up through the lattice of limbs, you might observe a phenomenon that scientists call canopy shyness, or crown shyness. Species like the Times Dryobalanops aromatica Times, or certain types of eucalyptus, leave a visible gap, sometimes 2 or 3 feet wide, between the edges of their highest branches. They do not touch. This creates a beautiful, winding river of blue sky that traces the outline of every individual tree. By maintaining this distance, the trees prevent their leaves from being damaged by friction during high winds and ensure that sunlight can reach the lower layers of the forest. Consider this a biological boundary, a respectful distance that allows every individual to thrive while remaining part of the collective. In your own mind, you can create a similar space, a quiet margin where the noise of the day cannot reach, leaving you clear and undisturbed. At this very moment, deep within the soil beneath you, a silent act of generosity is occurring. Scientists have discovered that sugar maples, or Times Acer saccharum asterisk, engage in a process known as hydraulic lift. During the night, when the tree's stomata are closed and it isn't losing water to the air, its deep taproots continue to draw moisture from the damp earth far below the surface. Instead of keeping it all for themselves, the maples release some of this water into the drier, upper layers of the soil. This provides a midnight drink for the shallow-rooted plants and shrubs that would otherwise wither during a dry spell. The forest is not a place of ruthless competition. It is a community where the deep-rooted support the shallow-rooted, ensuring the health of the entire landscape. Picture the ancient limbs of a Sitka spruce, asterisk, Picea, sitchensis, asterisk, or a bigleaf maple, asterisk, Acer macrophyllum, asterisk. These branches are so old and so wide that they have developed their own geography. Over centuries, needles, dust, and moss accumulate on the upper surfaces of the branches, eventually decomposing into what researchers call canopy soil. In some old-growth forests, This soil can be up to 12 inches deep, suspended 150 feet in the air. This aerial earth supports entire ecosystems of ferns, insects, and even small trees that will never touch the ground. It's as if the forest has built a second floor, a hidden garden in the sky that mirrors the world below. Just as the tree holds this weight without effort, you can feel the earth and your bed holding your weight, providing a solid foundation for your rest. What's happening now, as you inhale the damp, cool air, is a direct chemical connection between the forest's history and your own well-being. Consider the Pacific yew, asterisk, Taxus brevifolia, asterisk, a slow-growing tree that often lives in the deep shade of larger giants. For centuries, this tree was overlooked, yet scientists discovered that its bark contains a complex molecule called taxol. This substance is one of the most powerful natural compounds ever found for treating certain types of illness. The forest is a living library of medicine, a silent laboratory that has been refining its chemistry for millions of years. When you are here, you are breathing in the cumulative wisdom of that biological evolution. Your body recognizes these forest aerosols, the pinene and limonene, and responds by lowering your heart rate and easing the tension in your muscles. Think about the sheer volume of air a single forest can process. A mature beech tree can have as many as 800,000 leaves, creating a total surface area of over 1,600 square yards. Throughout a single sunny day, that one tree can breathe in the carbon dioxide equivalent of several thousand car trips. This carbon isn't just discarded, it is transformed. The tree takes the carbon atoms and uses them to build its physical body, the wood, the bark, and the roots. In an old-growth forest, the soil alone can store up to 1,000 tons of carbon per hectare. This is a massive, slow-burning battery of life, pulling the heaviness out of the atmosphere and locking it away in the cool, dark earth. As you lie here, imagine the forest absorbing any heaviness you are carrying, pulling it down into the ground to be recycled into something new and green. Deep within the wood of a 1,000-year-old cedar, there is a record of every significant event the planet has faced. Scientists use dendrochronology to look at tree rings, which act as a global archive. A single ancient tree can show the chemical signature of a volcanic eruption that happened 3,000 miles away, or the subtle shift in the Earth's orbit. The tree doesn't judge these events, it simply incorporates them into its growth, adding a layer of wood and moving on. This is a powerful metaphor for your own journey. Like the tree, you have weathered many seasons, and each one has added to your strength and your story. Right now, you are simply adding a layer of rest, a quiet ring of peace that will support you in the days to come. Notice how the atmosphere feels thick and supportive. This is due to the biotic pump hypothesis, a concept in forest ecology suggesting that large forests actually create the wind that brings rain to them. By releasing vast amounts of water vapor through their leaves, sometimes up to 100 gallons per tree per day, forests create a low-pressure zone that pulls moist air in from the ocean. The forest is the architect of its own climate, ensuring it has the water it needs to survive. You, too, have the ability to create your own internal climate. By slowing your breath and focusing on these natural rhythms, you are drawing in the calm and the rest you need, creating a sanctuary within yourself. Consider the life of a single seed from a western hemlock. Asterisk, Tsuga heterophylla, asterisk. It is tiny, no larger than a grain of pepper, yet it contains the blueprints for a giant. It can wait on the forest floor for years, in a state of seed bank dormancy, waiting for the perfect moment of light and moisture to begin its journey. This patience is a fundamental part of the forest's secret life. There is no panic in the waiting. There is only a quiet, ready state of being. Allow yourself to enter that same state, a place where you don't need to act or achieve, but simply exist in a state of readiness for sleep. Scientists discovered that the Wood Wide Web isn't just about sharing food. It's about family. Using DNA analysis, researchers have shown that mother trees, the largest, oldest trees in the grove, can recognize their own kin. When a mother tree's saplings are growing in her shade, she will send them extra sugar through the mycorrhizal network, and she will even reduce her own root growth to give her offspring more space to expand. You are standing in the presence of a deep maternal care that spans centuries. This environment is designed to nurture and protect life. Feel that sense of being looked after, of being part of a system that values your existence and provides for your needs. At this very moment, the temperature of the forest floor is stabilizing as the sun disappears. The heat flux of the soil is moving upward, a gentle radiation of warmth that was stored during the day. This creates a soft, thermal layer just above the moss, like an invisible heating pad. The moisture in the air is beginning to condense, forming tiny, microscopic droplets on the tips of the needles. This is the forest's evening exhale. The air is at its most pure and its most oxygenated. Every breath you take is a gift from the trees, and every breath you release is a gift to them. As the shadows deepen into a rich, velvety black, the boundaries between you and the forest begin to blur. Your limbs feel as heavy as the great boughs of the fir trees, weighted down by a pleasant, natural gravity. Your thoughts are moving as slowly as the sap in a wintering trunk. The complexity of the forest, the hydraulic lifts, the aerial soils, the chemical conversations, all continues without any effort from you. You are free to simply be. You are a part of this ancient, enduring cycle of growth and rest. The forest is standing guard, its billions of leaves whispering a soft, rhythmic lullaby that has been played for eons. You are sinking into the moss, sinking into the history of the earth, perfectly safe and profoundly still. Picture this: the forest you are resting in is not just a collection of trees, but a masterpiece of acoustic engineering. As you lie still, you might notice how remarkably hushed the atmosphere has become. This isn't an accident of nature. It is the result of a scientific phenomenon known as attenuation. The complex, multi-layered structure of the bark, the soft needles, and the thick moss acts like professional-grade acoustic foam. Researchers have measured that a 100-foot-wide belt of trees can reduce noise levels by 5 to 8 decibels, effectively filtering out the higher frequency sounds of the outside world and leaving only the low-frequency, rhythmic pulses of the wind. The forest is, in essence, an organic sound recording studio designed to hold a deep, resonant silence that allows your nervous system to fully recalibrate. Notice how the light has shifted into a spectrum of deep violet and indigo. What's intriguing is the way the trees perceive this light. While we see the forest as a wall of green, the leaves are actually highly selective filters. Through a process called photosynthetically active radiation, or PAR, the chlorophyll molecules within the leaves, specifically chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B, absorb light most efficiently at wavelengths of approximately 430 and 660 nanometers. These are the blue and red ends of the spectrum. The green light we see is the light the tree doesn't need, reflecting it back to us like a cool, emerald gift. At this very moment, the trees are winding down their energy production as the red light of sunset fades, transitioning from the work of photosynthesis into the quiet recovery of their nightly metabolic cycle. Consider the temperature of the bark beneath your fingers. Wood is a singular material because it has a very low thermal conductivity, roughly 0.12 watts per meter Kelvin. This means it is an incredible insulator. While the air temperature might drop as the stars begin to emerge, the trunk of a massive Sitka spruce, *Picea, sitchensis *, retains the gentle warmth of the afternoon sun for hours. It acts as a thermal battery, radiating a soft infrared heat that stabilizes the air immediately surrounding it. If you were to press your cheek against the tree, you would feel this residual energy, a slow release of warmth that mimics the comfort of a heated stone. At this very moment, something nearly invisible is beginning to happen in the darkest corners of the undergrowth. You may have heard of foxfire. This is the bioluminescence produced by certain species of fungi, such as Thymes Panellus stypticus *. This fungus contains a light-emitting molecule called luciferin, which reacts with oxygen in the presence of an enzyme called luciferase. The result is a faint, ghostly green glow that emits no heat. It is a biological cold light, pulsing with a frequency that is almost imperceptible to the human eye. In the deep shadows of an ancient forest, this soft luminescence helps to attract insects that spread the fungus's spores. Imagine this tiny, living starlight beneath the ferns, providing a microscopic map of the forest's hidden life. Deep within the root systems of the western red cedar, Thuja plicata *, a different kind of energy is moving. Scientists have discovered that trees are not just chemical machines, but electrical ones. They send slow-moving electrical pulses through their vascular tissues, similar to the nervous systems of animals. These signals travel at a speed of about 1/3 of an inch per minute and carry a voltage of approximately 0.1 to 0.3 volts. These pulses coordinate the tree's response to the environment, such as closing its stomata during a dry spell or adjusting its sap flow as the temperature drops. As you rest, imagine these golden threads of electricity pulsing through the earth beneath you, a slow, rhythmic heartbeat that spans the entire grove. Notice the geometry of the branches above you. The way the leaves and needles are arranged is not random. It follows a mathematical principle called phyllotaxis. Most trees arrange their leaves at an angle of approximately 137.5 degrees relative to the one before it. This is the golden angle related to the Fibonacci sequence. This specific spacing ensures that no leaf completely shades the one below it, allowing for the maximum capture of light and the most efficient shedding of rainwater. This pattern is a silent testament to the forest's inherent order, a geometric harmony that has been perfected over millions of years to ensure every limb has exactly what it needs to thrive. What is happening now, as the humidity rises, is a transformation of the mosses. If you were to touch the hypnum times moss on a nearby nurse log, you would find it feels heavy and saturated. Mosses are poikilohydric, meaning they don't have the same internal water regulation systems that trees do. Instead, they simply mirror the moisture of the air. Some species can absorb and hold up to 25 times their own weight in water. This makes the moss mats of the ancient forest act like a giant ecological sponge. They trap the evening mist, holding it against the bark and soil, creating a micro-humidified zone that keeps the air you are breathing exceptionally moist and easy on your lungs. Consider the soil you are resting upon. Healthy forest soil is far more than just dirt. It is a porous architecture. In an old growth system, roughly 50% of the soil's volume is actually pore space, tiny tunnels and pockets filled with air and water. This is created by the constant movement of earthworms, the growth and decay of fine root hairs, and the tunneling of microscopic organisms like springtails. This aeration allows the soil to breathe, exchanging gases with the atmosphere. It also means the ground has a physical give to it, a microscopic springiness that supports your weight with a gentle pneumatic pressure. You are being held up by a cushion of air and earth, a structural marvel that is both solid and soft. Deep within the canopy, the lichens are growing at a pace that makes the trees seem fast. The monk's hood lichen, hypogymnia, physodes *, which looks like a tiny, inflated grey balloon, may grow only 1 to 2 millimeters in an entire year. These organisms are the ultimate practitioners of patience. They derive all their nutrients from the air and the rain, surviving on almost nothing but the atmosphere itself. Their presence is a biological indicator of the air's absolute purity. Because they have no roots, they absorb everything directly through their surface. As you breathe in the crisp, clean air of this grove, you are experiencing the same purity that allows these delicate lichens to endure for decades on a single branch. Notice the scent of the evening, which is becoming more complex. This is the result of the temperature inversion that happens as the ground cools. The heavy, aromatic compounds like alpha-pinene and beta-pinene are sinking, concentrating the forest's natural fragrance near the floor. Scientists have found that these terpenes don't just smell pleasant, they have a tangible effect on human biology. Inhaling these forest aerosols for just a short period can significantly increase the activity of natural killer cells in the human body. Specialized white blood cells that bolster your immune system. You are resting in a natural nebulizer, where every inhalation is literally strengthening your body's ability to protect itself. Picture the way the water moves within a Douglas sphere as the night progresses. During the day, the water is under high tension, being pulled upward by the sun. But at night, as the tension eases, the tree undergoes a process of rehydration. The trunk actually swells slightly, a change that can be measured by sensitive instruments called dendrometers. The tree is refilling its internal reservoirs, preparing for the next day. The wood is not a static object. It is a dynamic, pulsating vessel that expands and contracts with the rhythm of the light. Your own body is doing something similar now, moving into a state of repair and replenishment, mirroring the slow, nocturnal expansion of the giants around you. The colors around you have now settled into a palette of charcoal, slate, and midnight blue. The Purkinje effect is taking hold. This is a shift in your eye's sensitivity that makes blue tones appear brighter in low light. The green of the leaves has become a deep, comforting shadow. The air is cool, but not cold, held at a steady temperature by the thick insulation of the canopy. You can hear the soft, rhythmic tick-tick of the wood as it settles, a sound caused by the microscopic shifts in the tree's structure as the temperature stabilizes. It is the sound of the forest going to sleep. You are now profoundly integrated into this sensory landscape. Your heart rate has slowed to match the 0.1 volt pulses of the roots. Your breath is deep and humidified by the moss. Your skin is cooled by the filtered air and warmed by the insulating bark. You are part of the attenuation, part of the phyllotaxis, part of the great rehydration. The forest has welcomed you into its secret, slow-moving life. and as you prepare for the final transition into sleep, you can feel the immense, silent weight of the ancient world pressing you gently into the earth, ensuring you are safe, supported, and ready for rest. The forest is now entering its most profound state of stillness. As you lie here, tucked into the cooling moss, you are witnessing the beginning of the great nocturnal transition. Just as your own body is preparing to shift its internal chemistry for sleep, every living thing in this ancient grove is undergoing a step-by-step biological shutdown. This is not a cessation of life, but a shift in focus from the outward expansion of the day to the inward repair of the night. Notice how the air has become perfectly still. Scientists have discovered that large forests are masters of biological sound damping. The complex surface area of a single hectare of old-growth forest, including the millions of needles, the textured bark, and the spongy floor, can exceed 5 hectares of total surface area. This massive amount of physical friction absorbs sound waves, preventing them from bouncing. In this environment, the background noise of the world is reduced to almost zero, creating a vacuum of peace that allows your heart rate to settle into a slow, steady rhythm. What's happening now, within the leaves of the western hemlock above you, is a fascinating process of mechanical closure. Throughout the day, the tree's stomata, those microscopic pores, have been wide open to breathe in carbon dioxide. But as the light fades, the tree triggers a drop in turgor pressure. The guard cells on either side of each pore lose their internal water pressure, causing them to go limp and pull together, sealing the opening. Within 20 minutes of the sun disappearing, the tree has effectively held its breath, reducing its water loss to nearly zero and entering a state of high-pressure conservation. This internal clock is governed by a complex set of proteins called TOC1 and CCA1. These are part of the tree's circadian rhythm, a 24-hour cycle that tells the tree when to prepare for darkness before it even arrives. Scientists have found that trees actually anticipate the sunset, beginning their cellular evening chores while the sky is still light. They are shifting their energy away from photosynthesis and toward the production of growth hormones and structural repairs. Like the trees, you can feel your own internal clock shifting, signaling to your muscles that the time for movement has passed and the time for restoration has begun. Look down at the redwood sorrel, or Times oxalis oregana asterisk, near your hand. It is performing a movement called nyctinosty. In a slow, deliberate process, the heart-shaped leaves are folding downward toward their stems. This isn't just a reaction to the dark, it's a strategic defense. By folding its leaves, the plant reduces the surface area exposed to the cool night air, which helps it retain its internal heat and prevents the weight of heavy dew from damaging its delicate structure. It is, quite literally, tucking itself in. Imagine your own body following this lead, your limbs becoming heavy and folding into the comfort of your bed, protecting your energy for the night ahead. Deep within the trunks of the giants, the temperature is undergoing a slow, thermal descent. Because wood is such a dense insulator, a tree with a diameter of over 3 feet exhibits significant thermal inertia. It takes approximately 8 to 12 hours for the core of a large tree to reach its minimum temperature. This means that while the forest air might be cool, the heartwood remains warm, slowly radiating that stored solar energy back into the surrounding space. You are lying next to a living radiator that has been absorbing the sun all day and is now releasing it with a patient, infrared glow. At this very moment, the humidity is reaching its dew point. As the temperature drops by just a couple of degrees, the invisible water vapor in the air transitions into a liquid state. You can see it forming tiny, silver spheres on the tips of the pine needles. This process, known as condensation, is a physical release of energy. As the gas turns to liquid, it releases a minute amount of latent heat, subtly warming the surface of the needle. The forest is literally creating its own gentle warmth as it hydrates. This moisture provides a soothing, cool humidity for your lungs, making every breath feel effortless and clean. Beneath you, in the dark silence of the soil, the night shift has begun for the mycelial network. While the trees rest their crowns, the fungal filaments are busy with nutrient translocation. Using a slow, hydraulic pressure of about 10 centimeters per hour, the mycelium moves phosphorus and nitrogen from areas of plenty to areas of need. It is a midnight redistribution of wealth, ensuring that even the smallest sapling in the deepest shade has enough nutrients to survive until morning. This is the forest's version of a silent, supportive infrastructure, working while everything else sleeps to ensure the collective health of the grove. Consider the carbon that the forest has worked so hard to collect during the day. In an old growth system, the soil can store between 300 and 600 tons of carbon per hectare. Much of this is in the form of humus, a stable, dark, organic matter that has been processed by microbes and fungi. This carbon isn't just sitting there. It is becoming part of the Earth's long-term memory. It is a heavy, grounding presence that anchors the trees and stabilizes the climate. Feel that same sense of being anchored, of being held by the weight of your own history and the stability of the ground beneath you. Even the fungi are using the cool night air to their advantage. Certain species in the Times Ascomycota Times group use osmotic pressure to catapult their spores into the damp evening air. They build up internal pressure within their microscopic sacs until they explode, firing their spores at speeds reaching 25 meters per second. These spores then drift on the slowest, most gentle night currents, settling miles away. This is a process of silent, invisible propagation, a way of ensuring the future without any sound or struggle. As the forest settles into this deep biological rest, feel the parallels within yourself. Just as the tree has closed its stomata to conserve its essence, you are closing your eyes to conserve yours. Just as the wood sorrel has folded its leaves to protect its heart, you are drawing your focus inward, away from the external world. Your breathing has become the psithurism of the forest, a low, rhythmic sigh that signifies total safety and total surrender. You are no longer just an observer of the forest. You are part of its nocturnal rhythm. The boundary between the air in your lungs and the air among the needles has dissolved. The stillness of the heartwood is now the stillness in your bones. You are ready to descend into the same restorative darkness that has sustained these giants for 1,000 years. As you move closer to sleep, let these affirmations of the forest settle into your mind. I am supported by the ancient, steady strength of the earth. My breath is as deep and natural as the rhythm of the rising sap. Like the great trees, I surrender my effort to the stillness of the night. I am safe within the protective canopy of this peaceful space. My body is a landscape of repair, restoration, and quiet growth. I release the light of the day and welcome the healing of the dark. I am anchored by deep roots, undisturbed by the world above. I trust the slow, patient timing of the natural world. My mind is as quiet as the moss-covered floor. Every cell in my body is replenishing its energy, just like the forest. I am part of an enduring cycle of rest that has existed for eons. I am heavy, I am still, and I am at peace. The forest is now a world of shadows and silver dew. The giants stand as silent sentinels, their long life making chemistry, protecting the silence you share with them. The temperature is a constant, cool embrace. The sounds have all faded into a single, low-frequency hum of existence. There is nothing left to do. There is nothing left to see. There is only the slow, steady pulse of the ancient wood, and the deep, dark, welcoming invitation of sleep. The roots are holding you. The canopy is shielding you. The earth is breathing with you. You are home. You are the secret life of the forest, dreaming of the sun while you wait in the perfect, emerald dark. Good night.